Hi, I'm Linda Ford. I'm the chair of the Bylaws Committee. I have both of them back to back. This committee, for those of you that don't know, this committee is chaired by the past president. So at the end of the ABM, Barbara Thiers will be taking it over as she will be stepping down as president and will become past president. So Barbara, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Sorry, there's a lot of little names here and I didn't see if everybody was here. So the bylaws committee pretty much just takes care of the bylaws, makes sure they're up, all the members can see them. Also, if there's any changes that need to happen, it's discussed in council. If you think there's a change that needs to be made, you can write to the chair of the bylaws, and then it is taken to council and voted on. And then if it wins, basically gets the vote, then the changes are made. Bylaws are up on the web. The other thing that the bylaws committee does is it watches over the leadership manual. So if you go to the committees and representatives page on the on the SPNHC website, you will see that we have a lot of standing committees, which are committees that operate every year. We have sessional committees, which are committees that are started by a particular president, and they might end when that president's term ends, or if there's still work to do, it might continue. And so there's those two types of committees. So one of the things that goes on with those is they have a leadership manual, which is a manual that discusses, this is all up on the web. And if you go to the committees and representatives page, there's a link at the very top that says leadership manuals, and you can click on that and you can go see what the leadership manuals are. And that tells you what each committee does, what their purpose is, what their calendar is, the things they need to accomplish during the year. And then it also has lots of times different appendices, which will be for the procedures of the committee. Bylaws really doesn't have that because there's not a lot, but I do some committees have a really set procedure during the year because there's a lot of things they need to accomplish. So it sets up exactly when it should be done. So that's pretty much kind of what bylaws has done this year. The report, what has had happened this year is that we'll be in the annual business meeting, which will be on Thursday morning. So check your listing for that. And that will tell you exactly what went on during the year in the committee. One of the things that we did was the leadership manuals got really overhauled this year because the website switched over. And so we changed everything from a PDF to a sort of a live format. So a lot of those got changes and upgraded. So that was all good. So does anybody have any questions about what bylaws does or anything like that? Can't say it's well, it's always an exciting, every committee is an exciting committee. Let me put it that way. But I can't say that there's a lot of controversial things going on in bylaws, because mostly it all has to do with getting things sent to us and then bringing it up in front of council and debating it or discussing it in council. So that's pretty much what bylaws does. The members are involved, like I said, the past president is the chair. And we have a couple of other members, including the secretary. So a lot of people, when they want to be active in SPNHC, are usually active with some of the other committees. If you're on bylaws, usually that's people that's been in SPNHC for a while. I'm getting a note that my internet is unstable. So if I'm freezing, I apologize already. Let's see if there's some.
You're good, Linda. You're dropping out a little bit, but we can still hear what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I've got unstable. My internet is not that whippy at any time. Okay, there's no chat or anything. Andy provided a link to the bylaws. So was that the leadership manual, Andy, that you linked to? I can't really tell.
The first link was to the governance page that just talks about leadership manuals and stuff, and then the second link is actually to the bylaws themselves, the PDF.
Okay. I don't want to click on it because I don't want to open up something else and even get more static on my connection here. So does anybody have any questions in general? I don't know if we have the president here. So
Are there instructions on the website for how you, for the process for changing bylaws? I know the bylaws are on the website because I look at them quite frequently, but I don't think I knew how to ask for anything to be updated or changed. So that might
no, there's not really in the instructions. It's just that if someone thinks, lots of times what happened is we'll be trying to do something and procedurally we'll see that we might need to define something better, or we might need to loosen something up because the bylaws may have been written, you know, when we started 25 years ago. But usually bylaws are something that stays pretty stable in a society. I'm a member of several, and it's not something you really change all the time. Your procedures for your committees may change, or your procedures for how you interact, but your bylaws are sort of, they need to be as stable as possible. They're pretty conservative. They're not a procedural manual because you really don't want them that specific because you don't want to be changing them that much. So bylaws are one of those things, and anytime we have to do anything legally, because SPNHC is a 301c, which means we're tax-free, you usually have to submit your bylaws so they can see, and then that is one of the requirements of a 301c is to have bylaws. It's one of the things that says you are that you're legit, you know, in some way. So
great, that's really helpful because I think some of the membership categories are, there's some information I think is missing about what each of the membership categories can do. I think one of them's only mentioned once and then it doesn't say what they're eligible to do. So and then I think we're looking into having an extra category. I don't know, after this meeting we might have several extra categories of membership that people are interested in doing. So it's really helpful to know that that's, you know, I'll come to bylaws, and if that gets going, and then we can update that through that.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think we did. I remember that the last time that the membership, some of the categories changed, we did change the bylaws at that time.
Right.
But those are things that do not, that we don't change very often.
Yeah.
You know, whatever committee is addressing it tries to address it for the future as well. So.
Great, thanks.
And Linda, our changes to the bylaws are made by council. It's not voted on by the whole society, right?
Correct. Although I do think that it has to have a majority vote at the ABM.
Right.
Yeah, I think it runs past the ABM. I don't remember. I need to read the specifics in the bylaws because I do remember that it does require a majority vote at the ABM. Yeah. And we never had anything that I can remember. Of course, you know, other people have been members longer than I have possibly, where there was an emergency vote. Mm-hmm. No, the bylaws usually are written so that the council has the chance to maneuver however they need to maneuver if there's a crisis at hand.
That's right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Linda, you're right. It is a two-step process. So changes are voted on by council and then brought to the ABM for a vote by the membership. There is also traditionally a call for any changes to the bylaws in the bylaw committee entry in the newsletter.
So thanks for like I said, I can't open another connection, or I can disappear. Whatever you'd like me to do, I'll be happy to do. So thanks, Andy. That's very helpful. Yeah, I thought I remembered that it was two-step. Is there any other questions? I mean, bylaws seem, well, let's face it, bylaws aren't the most exciting reading with any society, but I would highly recommend that you go read them. They're not that long, and especially if you're planning on being a member of a committee, or if maybe you want to run for president or one of the other council positions, I highly recommend you do it because it really does set in your mind. You see the society kind of operating, you're not really understanding how it happens, but if you get the bylaws, if you read them, that sets the skeleton for kind of how things operate. And it really does, maybe that's just my mind, but it really does kind of set in your mind how things should be flowing, what the options are. So it's on the website. It's not that long. I would highly recommend that you read it because it might help you understand how the society is put together and also, you know, how it tries to operate. So
Linda, another question. Have we made, I don't recall, have we made changes to the leadership manual in the last couple of years? But what's the procedure for that? Is that just simply editing, or does it, you know, need a larger?
No. Does it require counsel or something?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going? No, leadership manual is pretty much, as long as it doesn't violate the bylaws. And I think that is why our forefathers, although they're not really to be our fathers per se, we're not that old.
Founding members.
Yeah, our founding members, there we go, did that is because when you get a leadership manual, you review it. And then as the bylaws committee, you're supposed to be familiar with the bylaws. And if anybody writes anything that is, you know, countered to the bylaws, then we will write back to the chair and say, you know, just FYI, you know, you might want to change this because of this bylaws. The way the leadership manuals are pretty much left up to the chair, although they only were started, probably about 10 years ago, I think, where things were really, really written down. So there is a history there. And at the bottom of the leadership manual, it has the history of the changes. It not only has who started it, but it has who edited it, who maybe the next chair came in and changed it. So it has the history of each one of them, and you can see. Now, it doesn't tell you exactly what the changes were, but it does tell you the points in time that it was changed. And so as the bylaws committee, you do look at these leadership manuals, you do see if they're in, like I said, in counterposition to the bylaws, you do get back. Or you just read them for content. You may say, this doesn't quite make sense. You know, please expand on this. Like I said, we overhauled the leadership manuals this year, not only tweak them for information, but just put them in a different format. And that took a lot of work. And I really want to thank Laura Abrazinski for that, and also our webmaster, Leah, because that was a lot of work, and they really were helpful in making those changes. So hopefully they'll be good to go. So if you want to make leadership manual changes, you just contact the chair of the committee and you talk to them about it, and then they'll talk it over with their committee. They'll make the changes. They'll submit it to the bylaws committee. The bylaws committee will review it, and then if everything is fine, we'll post it. It does not require any council approval or anything like that. Does that answer anything? Okay.
Yes.
You know what you get to do, huh?
Well, you already did it. Doesn't sound like I have to do anything.
Well, things always need tweaking, but they were in good shape. I don't mean to imply the leadership manuals were not in good shape when I took over. They were in good shape. What it was changing over to the website. Just the whole, that just took a new look, and we sort of kind of fleshed out a bit more and thought we could expand this a bit and be a bit more clear about this.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have any other questions about bylaws? Are all of you reading them right now? I did.
Well, it is one of the less sexy part of an organization, but I mean, there are the structural issues, and we have to have bylaws, and we have to have, so that we can have money, basically. So
yeah, exactly. And I have to say, if you read the bylaws, you almost become an instant expert because something's always popping up. Just like you asked me what was the procedure, and I was like, oh my God. So I'm like trying to remember what's in the bylaws, I was trying to remember, okay, how does that procedure work? And because there's always things that pop up in council or the ABM or someone saying, what do the bylaws say? So I'm kind of familiar with them. You at least know where to go look.
Yeah, I have used the bylaws to look up membership stuff just to make sure that what I'm telling people is correct. So that's been really useful to have that online.
Yeah, I have to say that they really are well written. I mean, they really are. If you're changing your bylaws all the time, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? But if you're just merely tweaking them because your membership changes or something else changes, that's a good solid system. So and I'm not saying this because I'm chair. I'm saying I inherited this. It's in good shape, and our bylaws are in good shape.
Seems like most often in organizations I've been involved with, bylaws changes have been made in recent years to accomplish doing things digitally as opposed to manually, online voting, online things. And as Tiffany said, as a result of this meeting, we may be, and the fact that we're running this virtual meeting, this conference, that we may be looking at changes with membership too. I mean, it was suggested in another meeting that maybe there should be just some sort of a virtual, pass that someone could get to come to the meeting. So, this is the area as technology. It's really technology driven, and what you can and what you can't do.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of things that have to be addressed. I know one of them with other societies is archives. They're all physical, and so if you're talking about going virtual, where do you store it? Storage is not cheap. Storage is not free. So it is to a certain extent on some things, but so some of these are big changes. Yeah. So a lot of the stuff with spinach, like I said, is really well done. It shouldn't be surprising because spinach was started by collections people, and by our very nature, we are detail oriented. So it makes a lot of sense that a lot of attention was paid to these details. So I think it's just being true to our nature, that all of these things are in such good shape, to be honest with you. So there's a lot of names here that I, not to say I know everybody in spinach, nor don't mean to make that assumption, that seem to be new. So I would encourage you that if you're kind of new to spinach and just kind of logged in, kind of listening to the happenings of the society and what's going on, take a look at the committees, see which ones are attractive to what your interests are, and contact the chair of that committee. I guess I'm doing a plug for spinach here since we discussed bylaws, but the best way to get involved with the society is to really get on a committee and see what they do. It's not hard. You have to be a member of the society, obviously, but it's not hard, it's not taxing, and that's how you'll learn how spinach operates. So yeah, so I would encourage you to take a look at the committee and representatives. Looked at that. The representatives are the people that are our members, are our connection to our sister societies. So for example, a lot of discipline specific societies you know, such as the mammal societies, or maybe anthropology or herpetology or ichthyology. We may have representatives to those particular committees or to other professional societies. So that's another way to get involved. If you wanted to be, if you're a member of 2 societies, and when that position comes open, if you'd like to be the rep, you know, you should contact the president, like I said, which is Barbara right now, but will be Paul at the end of the ABM, and or contact the rep of that committee and tell them that you're interested in doing it, you know, when they go off. Not the committee, but the representative to that particular, our liaison to that particular society. So, does anybody have any questions in relation to, general questions in relation to committees or anything like that? If you have anything specific about the committee, contact the chair. They can let you know what are the activities and what's been going on, what their goals are for the next year, and what they hope to accomplish. So